Hi guys, this is Math 6, Lesson 1-3, Multiply Fractions. In this lesson, we'll be able to use models and equations to multiply fractions and mixed numbers. Let's look at solve and discuss it. The art teacher gave each student half of a sheet of paper. Then she asked the students to color 1/4 of their pieces of paper. What part of the original sheet did the students color? So, if we look at this picture, we see a paper. This is an original paper. So if the art teacher gave each student half of a sheet of paper, she cuts this in half, and then all the students will have half of the original, right? And then she's asking the students to color 1/4 of their pieces of paper. So they already have half of the original. But now they're going to divide that half into 1/4 and then color 1/4, right? So then what is this shaded area in terms of the whole entire paper? So what is the fraction that could represent? Well, see how many of the same parts we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this shaded area is one of the 8 pieces of the original, right? So we'll have 1/4. Let me type 1/4 of 1/2 is equal to 1/8. Okay. All right. Let's look at focus on math practices. Should your answer be less than or greater than 1? Explain. Is your answer less than or greater than 1? 1/8. It's less than 1. Why is it less than 1? Why does it have to be less than 1? Because what does the original paper represent? 1. So it has to be less than 1. Let's explain it further. It needs to be less than 1 because 1/2 is less than 1 and 1/4 is less than 1. So 1/2 times 1/4 is less than 1 times 1. That's another way to explain it. And we know that 1 represents the original paper. If we divide the original paper into smaller parts, then the answer must be less than 1. Okay? All right, let's start our lesson with example 1 on the next page. So think about how we can multiply fractions and mixed numbers throughout this lesson. Example 1, multiply unit fractions. There was 1/4 of a pan of lasagna left. Tom ate 1/3 of this amount. What fraction of a whole pan of lasagna did Tom eat? So look at this picture to better understand the situation. So 1/4 of a pan of lasagna is left. That means originally you had a full pan, right? This lasagna that's left here is only 1/4 of the original lasagna. Okay? Tom ate 1/3 of this leftover. So 1/3. Divide this into 3 equal parts. Tom ate 1/3. Ooh, this lasagna looks good. What fraction of the whole pan of lasagna did he eat? So what fraction is this piece of lasagna in terms of the whole lasagna? Right? Then you'd have to divide the whole lasagna with equal parts. Then you see 3, 6, 9, 12 equal parts in the whole pan. So Tom only ate 1 piece of that 12 pieces of lasagna of the whole. So one way is to represent that into a diagram like that. So if this whole bar represents 1, we divide that into 4th. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And Tom just ate 1/3 of that. And so we're going to divide the other parts into thirds and say, oh, there are 12 pieces and he only ate 1. So 12 parts make 1 whole, so 1 part is 1/12. Another way, you can multiply 1/3 by 1/4. Okay? And you can say, you can shade 1/3, 1/4 first of the whole, and then you can shade 1/3 that represents 1/3 of the whole thing. And the part that's shaded both ways is going to be 1 part out of the whole 12 pieces. Okay. So let's try this. Look at example 1, see if you understood, and apply for yourself. Find 1/4 times 1/5 using an area model. So area model is the second method here. So from the whole area 1, you're going to divide first into 1/4 and shade 1/4. And then you're going to shade 1/5 horizontally or vertically. So you're gonna separate the fractions horizontally and vertically, and the part that is shaded both times is going to be the part that you're trying to get. Okay? So figure out the answer and come back when you're ready for an answer. Okay, so if you shade this area, 1/4 of the whole thing is 1 of 4 rows, right? And so you're going to shade this area. And 1/5 is 1 of 5 columns. So you're going to shade this area. And so you're going to look at this piece. So this piece is 1 out of how many pieces total? 5 times 4. So that's 20 pieces total. So this is the area model because you're finding the area. 4 times 5 is 20. And that is how many pieces you have. So that is 1/20. Explain. How would you explain it? In words, not just graphing, but words. You can say, we shade 1 row to represent 1/4. We shade 1 column to represent 1/5. The overlap is 1 out of the 20 small rectangles. So 1/4 times 1/5 is equal to 1/20. Okay? So convince me. Why is the product of 1/4 times 1/5 less than each factor? Why is it less than 1/4 and 1/5. So 1/20th. Why is it less than 1/4 and 1/5? So, because we're finding 1/4 of 1/5 or 1/5 of 1/4, so we're dividing it further. So it just makes sense that it doesn't get bigger, right? So we can say that when we multiply a fraction by a fraction, we find part of a part. So it only makes sense that the answer gets smaller, not bigger. Okay, that was example 1. Let's move on to example 2 on the next page. Multiply fractions. Find 2/3 times 3/4 using a number line. 1/3 means 1 of 3 equal parts. So 1/3 of 3/4 is 1, 2, 3, 1/4. How do you know? Because we already divide 1, 0 to 1. This is 1, okay? We already divided this into 4 equal parts, right? 3/4 is just 3 of 1/4, yeah? And so 1/3 of that, it's already divided into 3 parts. So 1/3 of that is 1/4. So 2/3 means 2 of 3 equal parts. So from 3/4, you count 2 of the equal parts. So 2/3 of 3/4 is 2 times 1/4. So 2 times 1/4 is just 2/4, or in other ways, it's just 1/2. 2/3 is equivalent to 1/2. Okay? Because you're dividing 1 into exactly half. Or you can divide 2 by 4 and get 0.5 or 1/2. All right, let's look at try it here. Find 3/4 times 4/6 using the number line and explain if you can. Come back when you're ready for answers. Okay, so first, what do? Look at the number line and see if you can find any of these numbers. You do not see 3/4, but you see 4/6, right? 4/6 is right here. And 4/6 is 4 of 1/6. And 4/6 is already divided into 4 equal parts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And so 3/4 of 1/6 would be just 3 of these. 1, 2, 3 of the 4 equal parts. And so that just means you have 1/6, 2/6, and 3/6. And 3/6 is equivalent to, if you simplify, divide both of them by 3 and you get 1/2. So the answer for this one is also 1/2. Explain using words as well. So you can say 1/4 means 1 of 4 equal parts. So 1/4 of 4/6 is 1/6. And 2/4 means 2 of 4 equal parts. So 2/4 is 2 times 1/6. And 3/4 means 3 of 4 equal parts. So 3/4 is 3 times 1/6. So you can say 3/4 times 4/6 is equal to 12/24, or 1/2. This is another way to solve it. Okay, so when you literally multiply them, you have 12. 3 times 4, 12, over 4 times 6, 24. And so you have 12 over 24, and if you simplify that, you get 1/2. And so this is by solving numerically, and this is by solving graphically. You need to know both. Okay, let's move on to example 3. Multiply mixed numbers. We're going to find 7/2 times 2 and 3/4. So what if we have mixed numbers? We can first estimate and see where our answer is going to go. So 7/2 times 2 and 3/4 is about 8 times 3. If you round up 7/2 to 8, and if you round up 2 and 3/4 to 3. So our answer should be close to 24. It's probably going to be less than that because we rounded it up. So the answer is bigger than what it actually is. So one way you can use the area model to find a partial product. Another way, we can just use numerically and write equations. So first, let's look at area model. You need to know what an area model is and how to use it. So one part is going to be 2 and 3/4, and another part horizontally is going to be 7 and 1/2. So if we have 7 and 2, it's easy to multiply. 7 times 2 is 14. So this area has a length of 7, right? And width of 2. So in order to find the area, it's easy. 7 times 2 is 14. For this rectangle, we have 1/2 times 2. So if you multiply 2 times 1/2, that's basically dividing 2 by half, and you get 1. And this area, you do the same thing. 7 times 3/4 is 7 times 3, 21, divided by 4. And that's a mixed number, 5 and 1/4. And in the same way, the last rectangle, 3/4 times 1/2 is 3/8. So once you find all the areas of the 4 rectangles, you can just add them all up to find what the total area is, which is 20 and 5/8. Now, there are a lot of computations here and steps, so it's easier to make mistakes on the way. So please make sure that you double check each of the steps before you add them, or even when you're adding them. Okay, so your final answer is 20 and 5/8. Another way, you can change the mixed numbers into fractions. So 7 times 2 plus 1 is 15, and you leave the 2 in the denominator, 15/2, times 2 times 4 plus 3 is 11, so 11/4. You multiply 15 and 11, you get 165 divided by 8. Change that to a mixed number, 20 and 5/8. So if you notice, you get much bigger number here because you're just multiplying them. But in your first method, area model, you don't have to deal with that big of a number. So if you want to use the multiplication method and then change that to a mixed number, that's fine. You also need to make sure that you do not make mistakes in between the steps. Okay? So, but you need to have the same answer. So you can use one method and try another method to double check if your answer is right as well. Okay, let's look at try it question. A clothing factory makes t-shirts. If each machine makes 3 1/3 t-shirts per hour, how many t-shirts does one machine make in 4.5 hours? Write and solve an equation. First, write the equation. Next, solve an equation. Is it a multiplication, division? What kind of numbers are you using? So see if you can solve it by yourself. Come back when you're ready for answers. Okay, so are you multiplying, dividing, adding, or subtracting? If the machine makes 3 1/3 per hour, and we want to know how many it makes for 4.5 hours, you multiply them, right? 1 hour, it makes 3. If it makes X amount, you just multiply X by 4.5 to get how many of that X you have, right? So you're gonna multiply 3 1/3 times 4 1/2. And in order to do that, you change it into a fraction. 3 1/3 is 3 times 3 plus 1, which is 10 over 3, times 4 1/2 is 4 times 2 plus 1, 9 over 2. And if you multiply them, 10 times 9 is 90, 3 times 2 is 6, and if you simplify them, divide both numbers by 3, and you get, or both numbers by 6, you get exactly 15. So 15 should be your answer. How many t-shirts? 15 t-shirts. Okay? Alright, so let's summarize our lesson. You can find the product of fractions or mixed numbers after this lesson. In order to multiply the fractions, you multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators and simplify by dividing same numbers to both numerator and denominator. If you have a mixed number, you change that into a fraction and then do the same thing. Alright, that was lesson 1-3, multiply fractions. If you have any more questions, please ask Ms. King in class. Otherwise, we'll continue with the next lesson in the next video. Thanks. Bye!